Hi guys, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery, and I'm located in Van.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Highland Heights, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk.
We're live.
Hello.
Hello, Becca.
Hi, Ryan. How you doing?
Been a hell of a week.
How's it?
Hell of a couple weeks. Yeah, having some kiln stuff going on. We're gonna talk about that later, but I just I just mentioned this, but I fired my third kiln of the week since Monday. Today is Thursday evening. It just finished
Mm-hmm.
probably 3 or 4 hours, probably 4 hours ago. So doing tons of firings. The last one has a ton of spoon rests in it, so it's pretty sparse, but still, I got lots of pots ready. I got a show this weekend, so I'm getting ready for that. Had a show last weekend. It's been a busy few weeks.
Busy weeks. Busy weeks.
Yeah, it's kind of that time of year. I feel like the best shows that I have are in August, September time frame, and they're, you know, it's still summer, but people are starting to think about gift giving, and
Yeah.
they're kind of like enjoying the last bits of being outside before it starts to be school back in and all those fall festival kind of things going on.
Yeah. Fall festivals, man. I haven't been to a
When's
fall
Yeah, I was
festival.
gonna say, when's the last time you went to like a pumpkin patch or like one of those things? Or like a corn maze or whatever?
I want to say in college, but it might be in college.
Yeah.
We had a pumpkin patch at our college because we had like a farm store. It was an agriculture school.
Hmm.
So that was, yeah, that happened. I would say that, I don't know, I might have gone to one when I was in Washington, but definitely drove past one a few times.
Yeah, I'm sure I
And
drove
you?
past one going between Kentucky and Indiana or something. It's probably been 5 or 6 years. I mean, our weekends this time of year are pretty packed with shows, and when there's not shows, there's other things we're doing. So, like next weekend, we're going to Indy for the Tiki event again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that should be good.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Indiana for 3 weeks in a row. Last week was the 4th Street show. This weekend is Penrod in Indy, and then we'll be back to Indy for the Tiki event. So,
Yeah, you're getting your steps in
yep.
for sure.
And then we'll be in Northern Indiana at the end of the month for pottery tour.
Hattery tour.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
I live in Indiana, so I'm just always here. Um,
yeah. What's new? What are you doing? You traveling? You were going to see Heidi recently.
yeah, so I went and saw Heidi, and then I went and saw Josh Heim.
You didn't
And
bring back a kitten, I suspect.
oh no,
Did you try?
no, that's his cat.
Mm,
I asked his girls if they really liked having a cat, and they said yes, so I didn't push the subject.
okay. I'm sure
But there,
Josh really likes it a lot too, right?
oh my God, he's such a good little cat. He reminds me so much of Lloyd when he was little. Um, just like super adventurous, super clingy. He's very clingy.
Hmm.
He wants to
But
be
it
held.
is like a barn cat though.
Yeah, he wants to be held 100% of the time.
Wow.
And yeah, and he loves climbing trees. He loves playing. He like followed me around everywhere I went. Lloyd fought him. It was great. We had a great time. Didn't
Was
we,
he
Lloyd?
pretty playful about it or
No,
scared or
like
well the small one I was get or is it was the small one playful
the
or
small
was
did not know how to handle Lloyd at all.
okay.
He was like, he was like, I'm not scared of you, but you're scared of me. Like, what's going on? You know?
Yeah.
So it was interesting, but it was, I mean, we only got in one really bad shenanigan the last night because the kitten got into the van and Lloyd was like, fuck you, get the fuck out of here. And
I
I
wouldn't
was,
think I wouldn't think the little one could jump that high up to the van.
oh yeah, he's not that little anymore.
Oh,
And plus there's a stool, there's a step.
okay.
But but yeah,
Yeah, if I guess if it climbed trees and stuff like that too.
yeah, so yeah, it was so much fun being at Josh's house and Josh's birthday was August 8th and he ended up having his birthday party while I was there, which was fun. And then his wife Carrie made me zucchini bread, which was amazing. And I've been selling these little muglets now
Mm-hmm.
for a couple weeks, and I had two sellout sales. That was almost 60 of them. And then I hit the wall this last time with my little polka dot ones, but I think that Deanna was like, the polka dots weren't as colorful. So she
It's
said,
harder to see the detail too.
mm-hmm. And so yeah, it's been good. I'm making little tiny pumpkins. I'm gonna make little tiny ghosts,
Mm.
I think. And I kind of want to do like charm bracelets. I think it'd be funny. So I
Are
made
the muglets were people just buying individuals or were they buying the earrings or
it's
was
very
there a
mixed. I feel like it's very mixed. A lot of people are buying pendants, and then a lot of people are buying muglet, it's just them by themselves, and then some are buying earrings. So it's very mixed.
I think that's good. Gives you flexibility.
Yeah. Also, I got the cutest little to ship out all these tiny things in. I got little chapstick tins and I'm gonna put them in chapstick tins to ship them.
Chapstick tins?
Yeah, like Carmex tins. Kind of,
Like a little circle?
yeah, that you can like screw on and off because that way I can put them in bubble mailers.
Mm.
So,
Instead of a
because
little box because you otherwise the box would be like 2 by 2 or like a jewelry box.
yeah, it's like 4 by 4 by 2 and it's just such a waste of all the things because they're so little and they come in such a large box. So,
Yeah, the
yeah.
bubble mailer should be nice.
And it's cheaper, way cheaper than the box. So that's nice.
And you
Yeah.
probably don't want those kind of like jewelry boxes that look kind of I don't know, they
Mm-mm.
look kind of basic. Where you like take it off, it's got the little padded thing and
I thought about those, but those are expensive.
oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's been happening. I'm trying to make beads. I think I've I think this was, I don't know. I've wanted to make beads for a while. I'm now with my newfound ways of doing things, I think that I'm hoping that I can make beads a little bit more efficiently because I really wanted to wholesale beads last year and then it just never kind of like
Beads?
beads, like necklace beads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm making beads and
Hmm.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making a lot of little tiny things and I'm trying to make some money.
Mm-hmm.
And I
You
have a
could take it
workshop
out of the
for those.
Sarah. I was thinking take it out of the Sarah book and make little buttons or something.
I know. I was thinking about buttons, but I don't want to take off. I don't want to. I don't want
There's not
to.
enough button love out there.
I don't know. I don't know.
You
I
say
don't.
you've got a jewelry workshop
Oh, I know. I
coming
have a efficiency throwing workshop
up? Efficiency throwing, yeah.
on September 18th.
18th. This is going to come out on the 21st. So
Well, you missed
tell
it.
us how you did. How many people did you have at this workshop?
Well, as of today, September 5th, there's 15 people in the workshop, so I'm gonna go with 75.
Ooh, I'm going to say 50.
50?
Yeah.
Wow. You're you don't have a lot of faith in me, Ryan.
I'm just 15 to 50. Seems like a good jump, but
We'll see how
prove
it goes.
me wrong.
I will. I was the second highest, well, the third highest actually, of the workshops. But then Heidi beat me because I told her how to do it.
Hmm. Well,
And then,
you know the tools now.
yep. So I'll get going on that a couple weeks in a week or two.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird time of year. It's like, are people, I don't know, it just feels like, are people taking classes and learning right now? Are they
I
working
don't
on
know.
holiday stuff?
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Oh, I also threw some stuff today with obsidian,
Oh, yeah?
the black clay from Aardvark, which is my nemesis. And but I have like 3 bags of it, so that's what I'm gonna make fancy cups out of coming
Hmm.
up. So that should be fun.
Oh, you're making new fancy cups
Hmm.
for the coffee show or
Yep.
pottery tour?
For
Both.
the tour and the coffee show. But then I'm done. I think I'm done with fancy cups for a minute because I started making them and I was like, God, I don't want to do this.
I mean, when's the last time you made fancy cups?
A long time ago. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's probably been spring or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there was no joy in my heart.
Mm. You need to like crawl, walk, run kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
get your feet wet before jumping right to fancy cup.
Listen, this clay can only do fancy cups.
Oh, you can't do
You can't
the
glaze on both.
small. Oh, you can't do the little like sipper cups or the
Well, I'm
espresso
still
cups or
doing small
whatever.
stuff. I'm still doing small stuff, but you can't glaze both sides because it doesn't respond to glaze well at all. So it's,
Oh, people leave it raw for the most part.
yeah, you have to leave it raw on the outside. So that's fun.
Damn. And
Yep.
also, if you throw thin, I suspect that's even worse.
Right. It acts like a porcelain. It looks black. Let me just tell you, if you see obsidian in a store, this is just my advice to you. Don't fucking buy it.
How did you get it there? Isn't aardvark not a common clay in that area? Or is
I'm
it
pretty sure I got it from, I think that I want to say Amico carries it.
really?
Yeah, well, it's the only black clay.
Oh, besides a standard 266 or brown bear from Mudworks?
No, it's black. Like it's
Hmm.
not
It's not
brown.
dark brown, it's black.
It's black. Like it is black.
Okay.
And that's why it doesn't like anything. It's got so much freaking iron in it or something that it like I
So
have to,
you decided to use that because you still had the bag of it. You didn't go out
right.
of your way to get it.
Yeah, and it's like 40 bucks a bag. It's really
Yeah.
expensive.
So are you gonna
So
be done with it once you're done with that batch of it?
hell yeah, it's awful. Listen, I love that it's black and I love that it's super smooth. But the fact that I had to down fire it. I had to fire it up to cone 4 and then put glaze on it.
Dang,
It's awful.
that sucks.
Oh, and then I had to bisque that glaze. I couldn't even fire it fully.
So you bissed it and then you went up to another high temperature, or you were using a low fire
I
blaze?
just once fired it to cone 4 and then I bisqued it back down.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds get through that. I'm surprised you're doing fancy cups with it and not just little bowls or little palm bowls or something with it. So
Well, I
it's
did them with that and they all freaking cracked.
oh damn.
It's not a fun clay. It's not fun. I don't know why I have so much of it. I don't know why I do this to myself. It's okay though. It's fine. Anyway, what's new with you?
All right, lots of updates. We've been interviewing people, so I don't think we've talked about what's been going on the last few weeks, but I had a soda workshop. I
Hmm.
had two big art shows. I have the art show coming up, and I scheduled another soda workshop and sold it out, which is good.
Sold it out already?
Yeah, I only had 6 spots, but yeah, sold it out.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I did the workshop a couple weeks ago. We had 5 people there. There
Huh?
were, I want to say 3 that were local,
Okay.
and then one came in from Chicago,
Yep.
and then one came in from Columbus. So not
Okay.
too far, but
Not too far.
and it was a good size. I think the flow of the workshop was well planned out. I think I planned accordingly with the timing of everything. We basically people got here on Friday, we glazed, wadded the pots. Before we glazed, we like looked at the pieces so people knew what kind of glazes would do what slips did, what slips are going to do, what the glazes are going to do differently. I have a pretty good selection of test tiles and stuff for what that looks like. And then wadded them and then loaded the kiln. We were done by 6 o'clock on Friday. And
Nice.
then
When did everybody get there on Friday, did you say?
2 o'clock.
Okay.
So um did that, started the firing really early on Saturday, 6 a.m. The firing took forever. It took like 14 hours. I was probably going a little slow at the beginning. I probably could have ramped that up a little bit faster. But yeah, everything got to cone 6, top to bottom. We even put some little guys on the underneath the shelf, and those seemed to get pretty hot. I didn't put a cone down there, but everything looked fully like the glazes looked like I'd expect at a cone 5. So everything came out pretty consistent. Everybody was happy with the results. We got unloaded at, I don't know, 11 on Sunday.
Hmm.
Saturday was pretty, everybody could do kind of whatever they wanted. Like the one woman that came in from Chicago, she went into downtown Cincinnati and she like saw the city and hung out with a friend, and
Oh, that's great.
she went in, she hadn't been to the city in quite a few years, so and went to the art museum, which is free here.
Mhm.
And a few people were around the studio. A couple of them threw bowls for the Empty Bowls event that we have for the Clay Alliance later this year. So we got, I don't know, 15 or 20 bowls made.
Nice.
And then somebody was here and they read. So they were just like reading, and then they would go to the kiln when we go check on it or load the soda or whatever. And then Erica was around too. So Erica was working in the studio a little bit. I was
Yeah.
working in the studio a little bit. So the day of firing, you don't really do a ton until all the excitement happens with the mixing the soda up and dumping it in the kiln and waiting and doing all that. So there's not a ton to do, which is kind of nice, but it was really exhausting for me on Saturday. So I was beat by the time we were done at, I think we were done at like 8 or so. Had dinner 8:39, something like that. And pretty exhausted by the end of the workshop, but I was happy with how it all went, and everybody seemed pretty pleased with the results. So I was planning on doing another one in September, but that would have been, like I was saying, the last few weeks, it was workshop, show, tiki event. Then I was going to do the next soda fire. And I was like, for one, it was just way too soon. I didn't want to like plan it. I didn't want to market for it to get people to do it and communicate with everyone. It was just like, I'm going to push this off. So my next one's not till mid-November,
Okay.
but I advertised it to the email list group that I have, which is about 60 or so people. Said, hey, the new dates are announced. I kind of did like a recap of what we did, how it went, showed
Yeah.
some pictures from the firing. And I kind of take advantage of the momentum because I was sharing on social media like as the workshop was going so people could kind of see what it was
Right.
about. And I think once I get the first one under my belt, it was easier to market for the second one. And pretty much I filled 4 of the spots, I think, within a week or so. And then the last 2 filled within about a week after that. So yeah, I did on the email list, and then I did my like Instagram channel, broadcast channel thing where it's people that are just interested in the soda firings. And then I posted on my stories like a couple times, but I didn't post it publicly on like a feed post or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, looking forward to that. I got plenty of time and yeah, so that was pretty fun. Pretty exhausting, but
Do you
it was
think
pretty
that
fun.
people, I know that Jessica was there. Do you think the people that were there were happy and pleased? And
Yeah, so I knew Jessica. She'd fire with me a number of times. So, she knew what to expect. She was good to be around. Um, One of the other women was it was actually who I sold my speedball wheel to a few years
oh,
back. So she had it is kind of funny because she had a piece that she gave me when she got the wheel and bought the wheel. And then she actually brought a new piece back and it was like way better. She was in
I
college at
love
the
that.
time and she brought a new piece and gifted it to me and was like, you got that other one. It's pretty old. Like, I wanted to give you a newer version. It's way better and improved. And it was like really good. Her pieces were awesome. The one she put
That's
in the
so
kiln.
cool.
I think everybody had like a really good selection of slip pieces and glazed pieces. I was kind of telling them, get an assortment so we can get some pieces that are getting a lot of soda, some pieces that are glazed that maybe get less soda. They're a little more shielded from all the atmospheric effects, but they still look good. Um, so everybody I think was pretty pleased. Everybody had between 5 and 8 pieces in the kiln, which is pretty much what I expected. I think I told them to bring 6 to 10. So everybody got a good chunk of pieces in there. Some people had a few more because the little guys that are underneath the bottom shelf, I didn't really count those, but
Hmm.
and I knew Hillary a little bit from just social media, and we'd seen each other at Ensika and whatnot. And she was pretty pleased with her results, and she had some really good stuff. It's nice to see the different clay bodies too. Some people bring speckled clays or more
Right.
porcelaneous clays, or they use more like pretty white clay bodies, and they get a little more effects and bright colors. And then you get
Yeah.
an assortment of options that people do on the glazing. Like some glazes, I don't use those combos, so it's kind of interesting to see what people come up with and try out. So, uh, yeah, and the price I think is pretty good too. It's 175 for it. I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna increase it the next time I do it because I could probably get to 200 and be a little more reasonable because it is a lot of work. But
We'll
yeah,
get a few on your,
I'd
under
love,
your belt.
yeah, I'd love to do it. At least quarterly, I think would be pretty reasonable, but maybe we'll do a few more in there, but I'm already doing the shows the last couple shows I did. I've been selling some soda pieces. Like between the two shows, I sold 19 soda pieces, which is
Nice.
pretty good. A lot of oil bottles, especially. So I need to get some more firings under my belt with my own stuff.
Yeah.
So I would love to get a whole top shelf filled with oil bottles and get a new batch of those done. So I may do my own firing that weekend in September just to get some more stuff made. But yeah, that's one of the main happenings, and then the other stuff was the shows I did. So
We should do a soda firing in October when I'm there.
got some shows in October. I don't know when I could do it because I'm gonna be out of town, and then I'm gonna be at a show, and then we have our show.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we could probably squeeze one in there. It might need to be over a weekday, maybe,
Yeah.
but we could figure something out.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that was pretty good. And then the shows I did the Lexington show, which I've done for the 5th year now. That
Hmm.
one was a big one. That was my best one of the year so far, $6,500. It was pretty good. Last year was my best of the year, and it was $7,200. Pretty crazy, but
Hmm.
I was very happy with 6,500
Yeah, hell yeah.
for a 2-day show. And
Yeah,
then
that doesn't suck.
this past weekend I did the 4th Street one in Bloomington. That was my first time to Bloomington, period, and it was pretty good. I didn't know what to
I
expect.
love Bloomington.
I don't know what it is. Like Deanna said the same thing. It's like people like the art there. I was trying to like picture who the art buyers would be and like who the customers would be, and it was hard to, I don't know, like I've been in other cities, but I don't know, I didn't know what to expect because I've
Yeah.
never been to that area. And it's not like the Penrod crowd, it's a different crowd than that.
Nope, it's like down home. Oh my God, this is beautiful. I'm gonna buy this because I want to type
Hmm.
of people, not I'm gonna buy this. I have enough money. I'm loaded type of people, you know?
Hmm.
Like they're like the people that are like, I've been waiting for this show all year and I've been saving up.
Hmm.
That's the Bloomington crowd.
Yeah. And it's right next to campus, so there's a bunch of college students that'll walk through, and they had a big football game on Saturday. The weather was pretty agreeable. There were some, threats of rain and whatnot, and it was pretty hot the day that we set up, but it wasn't too bad. It was pretty manageable.
Yeah, I think that Deanna said that well, okay, so that night we had like huge storm and Deanna had a huge storm.
Yeah, Indy got hit really bad.
Yeah. And so she was like, "Oh God, nightmare on 34th Street. Nightmare on 4th Street."
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm glad it turned out
Yeah. That was a $5,200 weekend.
awesome.
And there were some other people that had sold there before, and they said the crowd's okay, but they're just not buying as much. So I heard that from a number of people that have returning artists, and there was another potter that said, "Were we at the same show?" Like because I've been posting the sale results on Instagram, and he's like, "I can't believe it! Like that it was just not. This didn't work."
Okay, this is what I've decided about this year. You are either in the you're either in the high end bracket, like you're in the high end rich money bracket, or you're in the low end under $40 bracket, and you're in that bracket, and that potter's probably in the $50 to $80 bracket. I don't know for sure, but
I think
that's
that's accurate.
that's what I've decided about this year. This year is the poor people's year or the rich people's year. There is no in between. There is no middle class. There's no middle class buying art right now. It's just well, the middle class is
Well,
buying art, just
I
buying
was gonna
art.
say the middle class are buying $40 and
They're
under,
buying,
$45 and under
yeah, they're
items.
buying $40 and under items, and the upper class are buying $1,000 items. So, because like when I started selling the $10 items, I was like, yeah, people are buying the shit out of these because it's cheap enough to be like, yeah, like I
I
spent that
could
on
swing that. It's not
lunch yesterday. Yeah.
right. Yeah, I think the $20 spoon rest garlic graters, those things were flying. Oil
Yep.
bottles, they always fly. And some people have seen the sales on Instagram recently, and they're surprised that mugs are not the top sellers. I'm like, you
No.
gotta like people. You hear all those comments. If I bring home another mug, so and so, I have done so many mugs. I collect so many.
Yeah,
You
they're
gotta
not
have
looking for
something
much.
else. I mean, I still sell some mugs, but it's not. And if the only thing that 50 to $80 price point seller has that is lower than that, or $30 to $40 is a mug that's at 35 or $40, like, mm,
Yeah.
it's kind of tough because that's the only thing you have to offer at that price. But I get it. Some people don't want to make those little things and sell in volume. Like, it's a
Big
hustle
thing.
to keep up with the quantity for that. I enjoy throwing that stuff. I mean, I also haven't done the math to figure out if I'm underpricing it, but it's like, I mean, I can keep up. I'm happy making them.
I mean, you're making more money than most of us, so I don't think you're doing anything wrong, you know?
So
So I think that clearly your system's working better than most of the people's systems. So
yeah. I'd love to talk on a different episode. Maybe I kind of wanted to pick Andrew Linderman's brain a little bit on this about the
mm,
understanding the price that you should charge based on what it costs you. Because I know he does the analytics of how much time he spends on each part of each form and whatnot.
he did that with Heidi.
Well, I think Andrew has a spreadsheet that I don't know if Heidi probably does too, but
Heidi literally gave us the spreadsheet.
of how much time it takes.
Yeah.
I know. I just wanted to hear from a different voice that's not Heidi. I love you, Heidi, but I thought about that
Yeah.
too because I was gonna ask Heidi, "Hey, do you keep track of all the time you spend?" And I was like, I think Andrew does that. I want to hear from Andrew's perspective with that, with going to because he does shows too. So that's part of.
Yeah, but you missed the window for Andrew. We're off
I
limits
know
for
he has
Andrew.
a child.
He
He has a
just had a
newborn.
baby like 4 days ago.
Well, his wife did, but yes.
Exactly.
But yeah, I want to dig into that a little bit because I've been posting the information on Reels, which I was like, I've been posting on threads about the sales and everything, and I'm like, you know, I was reluctant to post it on Instagram because I didn't want people to think I was like bragging or something, but also like I'll share any of the results from the shows. Like
Yeah.
I'm sharing because I think it's beneficial for peers to see it, to see that it's possible. And then you get the comments that'll trickle in and be like, okay, real question. How much did you actually profit off this? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. Like, that's what I got. I got to improve on this, but like, hey, it's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, and also you're not doing it full time, so quote unquote.
Hmm.
Um, so it's like you profited 100%. Technically.
Yeah. I just, it just, I just, I mean, I hope that they're not saying it because they're like, that sounds great and all, but you're not telling us how much you profited, so it doesn't really matter to share. Or it's like it's deceptive to share. I don't want that to come over as deceptive. I'm just sharing the numbers. I'm not saying anything about you
I think
need
you're
to make
fine.
this work, you need to
Yeah.
charge this much. And if people ask me how much do you those items cost? I literally listed every single item that I put in that list and how much the price ranges are. So
Yeah.
like all the information's there. If you want to see it, it's there. I'm not hiding that from you. And I'm
Right.
not lying about the sale numbers that like um you know take with it. And then there's people that'll say, "Oh man, that booth is $380. That's crazy." But I'm like, depending on what market you're in, like if you're in New York or California, you can't even go to a show and not spend $300 on a booth.
100%.
And it could be like a 1 day pop-up for $300. Like it's not the same quality of show.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Rough, man.
But yeah, I'm deep in show season. We'll see what the show is on Saturday, Penrod. It's a 1 day. Last year I did 5,000 at that on 1 day, and it was nuts.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
If I made the amount of thing like money that you've made in the last like 4 weeks, I could pay for my entire year of living expenses. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to one of the ladies that was in here today, and we were talking because a Rivian,
What is
it's
that?
it's a brand new car. Well, it's like an all electric car or something like that. They're stupid expensive. And
I think I know what you're talking about. Is that well, it's like a truck though, isn't it?
yeah. Oh, I
Okay, yeah.
guess not. Oh no, these are used. I was like, wow, they're not that expensive. Used, they're 80,000.
Damn.
So, so it's an electric adventure vehicle, and somebody pulled up in that car, and I was just like, good Lord. Like, and then she ended, and I mean, like, amazingly super friendly lady, and you could tell that she was like very giving and stuff like that. And she bought a like $135 vase for a friend for their birthday.
Hmm.
And which is totally something I would do, like buy an expensive birthday present for somebody if I had the money. But she walked out and I was just like, good Lord, I cannot imagine that. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine like having that much money. And I think it's just because I've lived on so little for such a long time that I literally can't even fathom it. And that's the same thing with like what you're making at your shows. Like I can't even fathom making $5,000 at a show. Like it's unfathomable to me. And I know that I understand why I'm not making that much money at shows. We know my faults. I'm just saying, I'm just saying that it's just wild. Like I would only have to do one show a month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not most shows are not $5,000 shows. I'm just in a sweet spot of shows where they are.
I know. Yeah,
Some
you have.
of some of the shows I've been doing, like the Berea and everything, I've been doing those for years, so they've built up. Like they
Yeah,
might
I
have
know.
been a $3,000 weekend or a 2,500, they built up little by little. But yeah, that I've gotten to a point where I think a lot of it has to do with having the data to know. Like I've been doing the last number of shows, looking at what I sold at that show last year, how many oil bottles, how many of the different forms, so that I can be prepared
Yeah.
and
No,
take
I
advantage.
know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I should be at the spot that you're at. That's not
Hmm.
what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I can't even imagine it. That's
Oh,
all I'm
right.
saying. So, um, that's all I have to say. Anyway, we should
Get to something.
we should do something. We
That was
should,
a big catch up because we haven't caught up on anything in
I
weeks, I
know.
feel like. So,
We should do something. Wait, oh, I wanted to do a what would you do if before we started anything because
yeah.
I was thinking about this, and this is like a small-ish what would you do if? What would you like what do you do when? Well, let's talk about that.
Mm.
Okay, what do you do when like you're making, let's say, an oil bottle or something, and you've been making like, let's say you're making like 40 of them. Okay, so you're making a lot of them, and there's just one that just will not cooperate. Like the neck is just not cooperating. Do you fight it out, cut it off, make something else, flop it down? What? This is a
Fight
multiple
it
choice.
out. Fight it out. As long
You
as
fight
it's functional, I keep it.
you fight it out.
There was
Okay.
a piece that was at the show this weekend that I took. I don't know if I shared it, but it just about collapsed and it fits the hand like really ergonomic, really nicely, but somebody's gonna like it. I was I was pretty sure it was gonna sell this weekend. It got picked up a number of times, but it did not sell. I think
Yeah.
it will sell this weekend at Penrose.
Okay. Well, I would
But
love
it's the
to.
same price. It's the same price as the other ones. It's 38 bucks. So,
Right.
and it's just a conversation starter. They pick it up and I'm like, that one just about got away from me, but I
Oh,
salvaged
yeah, I
it.
love that.
It's a good little like, oh yeah, you
So
know.
you're always gonna fight it out, essentially.
I mean, I generally don't like to wait, not have a product at the end of the time that I spent doing it, unless it like like started folding in on itself and everything, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not functional anymore. I'll squish that, put it on the plaster, and reclaim it back into a working ball. But these days, if I'm throwing a specific form, I'm not going to cut it down so small and then make a cup out of
yeah.
it. But if it's salvageable, I'll do it. I'll keep it.
Hmm.
Would you do the same, or you?
Oh no, absolutely not. I just flop it immediately. And that's what I was thinking about that because Eric is a fighter too. He'll fight it out. And I
Does he
remember
care that it looks a little different, or is he fighting it to make it salvageable? Or
I think that like that's I mean a lot of the times it's not even like that he's making the same thing over and over. It's just that like maybe a neck didn't work out, so he'll cut it down or whatever, and then it
mm,
just kind of like gets away from you. And that was one of the things that I remember Rebecca Prouse, Graves Prouse saying to me when I started working for her that she admired about me is that if I have something that I know is going to be fucked up, I just flop it immediately. I'm like, I'm like, nope, this isn't going to work. We're
hmm
done. We're done.
yeah. I
And and I just don't spend any extra time thinking about it. I just crash it, take it off, start again.
yeah. Well, I would suspect also in that production setting, you
It is
want
a little,
this consistency because for me, it's me making the things, I'm making the decisions throughout with I kind of embrace that this is going to fit for somebody out there
yeah.
and it's not going to cost me extra time besides the time that I lost squashing it. Like I'm still going to do the steps like I do normally for every other pot. It's not, and it's not like I'm taking a bowl and I cut off an inch of the bowl and it's going to be a really small bowl, so it's going to
Right,
look like an oddball. If it's an oil bottle, I just embrace that it's going to be a little different. Every one of them is a little different. So I'm just like, in the grand scheme, I make, you know, 1,000 or not 1,000. I make like 500 oil bottles in a year or whatever. One oil bottle, five weird oil bottles. Who cares?
right.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
who cares? Who fucking cares, man? Who fucking
Wabi
cares?
sabi.
Wabi sabi, the two worst words in the ceramic dictionary.
I had a customer mention that to me. I think he said he was looking at the soda fire work and like the electric work, and he was saying, I was like curious where your like influences are. Is it's kind of got like an Asian feel, but also kind of like a like intentional or like something intentional or something mid-century or something because of the carving. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I mean, I like to say the pieces are siblings. They're not twins. So I try to keep a little bit loose with the making and then I mentioned that the stuff is soda fired, so it's a lot more atmospheric and there's variation in the pieces and yeah.
Did he
So
throw out wabi sabi or did you?
he did.
What a word. I don't know why it like gets to my bones so much. Like I just do not like the term wabi sabi. First of all, it sounds like a food. And and
It makes you hungry.
yeah, I guess yeah, and it's just like fucking I don't know. I don't know.
Is it
Anyway,
like if you're intentionally trying to be wabi sabi, you're not being wabi sabi? It needs
yeah.
to
It's just very it feels very contradictory to itself.
hmm. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So we should probably talk. Okay, do you know that I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that my plug and fire kiln is the most fired plug and fire kiln out
Do you have
that's
your firing numbers? Do you know how many times you fired it?
the last time I checked it was 35.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe
When
it
did
was
you get it?
like a month and a half ago,
Oh my gosh.
like before you went on vacation,
That was late June. So you got it mid-June.
mid-June.
We're at
And
September. We're almost 3 months. 3 months. Okay. Dang.
I'm positive there's more than that on there right now. I'll check and I'll let you know, but pretty sure that I have the most fired L&L
35?
plug and fire.
Are you also the little cups? You're single firing the muglets. You're single firing those, correct? You're not bisque firing?
For the most part, I just fired them today. It depends on how fast I want to get them done and what I want to do
Okay.
and how fragile I feel that day because
Mm. How
they are,
risky you want to be?
yeah, it's a lot. So anyway, the plug and fire, Deanna got hers
Hmm.
and she loves it. She figured out the firing that they used for her old kiln and plugged it into the Genesis controller.
Hmm.
And she said that her luster firing was in 3 hours.
Rather than what?
I think her old luster firing was like 4 or 5 4 maybe.
Oh, wow. And
Regardless.
it's twice the size too.
And it's twice the size and twice as much stuff. But what I wanted to say was this last week was the first week that my plug and fire went on its first trip.
Oh,
And
you transported it.
I transported it for the first time and it was an absolute champ. Okay, so the way that it's the way the way that I really like it. Okay, you flip over the stand and then you can put the base in the stand, and then you put that in the car, and then you put the top on the base, and
The main
it's
kiln body, yeah.
main killed body on the base, and it snuggles right in there, and it's still within the stand, so it won't go anywhere. Now, I will say that the stand has four little pegs, kind of like to keep the kiln in place, so they will hit your floor, which I don't give a shit about my floor, but it does kind of keep it sturdy, so it doesn't slide around very much. And then I put the little control box. I wrapped it up and put it right in the kiln, and closed it. It was amazing. It traveled so much better than my old one, which was half the size. And it was like the fact that the control box goes inside the kiln was absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
That's the money point right there. So can confirm traveling with the kiln, 10 out of 10. It was fantastic. It was so easy to set up and move around. I thought that I was not going to like that it's in two separate parts, like that you have to carry it in two different times, but I actually like it because it's a hell of a lot less heavy. So,
Yeah. You mean the base from the lid and the top
yeah,
and the body?
yeah, like I can't carry the whole thing all at once. I'm sure I could, but I don't want to. Josh did, but
Yeah. Kind of
um,
depends on how high you're lifting it too. But I would
exactly.
guess you probably wouldn't want to lift it too much higher than your stomach
Correct.
because yeah, that
Yeah,
would be
but
heavy.
it traveled really, really well. I was super fan of how it traveled.
Nice.
And yeah, so for those of you who don't know, which I don't know how you could not know at this point, um the the plug and fire is 8 by 8 by 9 on the inside, and it runs on a 15 amp breaker. It's 12.5 amps. And it just plugs into a regular plug, and it's all hunky dory, and it's a cone 10 kiln, and it's basically the best thing in my
I'm
life.
using it more than I thought I would, especially with what we're going to talk about later.
Yeah.
I've been using it a bit more.
It's funny because when this isn't about, well, this isn't about this kiln specifically, but I've had a small kiln before. And when I got it, I didn't think I was going to use it as much either. And holy shit, it's just so easy to fire. It's like, let's just plug her in. Oh, we
Yeah.
need to fire that little piece. Oh, that's fine. Let's just fire it tonight. Like, it's so easy to just turn on and let go for 4 or 5, 6 hours and then forget about it. Um, yeah, and so anyway, you can find everything you need to know about the plug and fire and all of the other kilns L&L carries at hotkilns.com.
Yep. Go look them up.
Go look them up. Oh, also, this is an ADHD channel right now, but I wanted to let you know that I have successfully painted 5 bowls in a row,
5 days in a row?
5 days.
Look at you. Okay.
Yeah. So for anybody that doesn't know, I'm doing what I'm calling a bowl journal. So
Mm.
instead of journaling by writing, I'm actually journaling essentially by painting. So I slip casted a bowl with Heidi while I was there, and I'm just painting that same bowl over and over in different ways, and it's been delightful.
Same bowl, you're producing new bowls each time.
Producing new bowls, I think I could slip cast. I'm sure I could slip cast like multiple bowls in a day. I'm doing 2 a day, trying to like build up a
Mm.
little bit.
Are you bisquing them and then painting, or are you painting them
Right now,
green?
I'm just painting them green,
Okay. With
but
underglazes, I suspect.
yeah. But I will be. I want to like I want to try and do maybe 3 a day and try and like build up my
Hmm. Are
inventory
you
of how,
labeling them somehow? Are you signing the bottoms with a date or something? So you
yeah, I'm signing the bottoms with the date. I think I forgot to sign the bottom of this one today. But yeah, I'm doing like the 9/5/24 kind of thing. So
sweet.
yeah, pretty stoked. And I'll sell them.
That's cool.
I haven't decided, should I keep them for a long time and then sell them? Like, should I sell them by month?
I would say maybe every 2 weeks, put. a batch of them up.
Okay,
You
that
know,
sounds
maybe you make them for a week and then you continue making and you get them finished by the following week, so it's always 1 week delayed.
yeah,
I feel like you could manage getting 5 done, or I don't know if you're going to do them every day, but if you do like
yeah,
5 a week, you can get 5 up every Friday or something.
yeah. That's a good idea. Fridays. Yeah, I what I've been doing is I've been making myself only do one a day because I want to do multiple, and so that's like making me want to do them the next day.
Hmm.
So I even did one yesterday when I felt like total shit.
Yeah, I saw you did that one.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah,
That'd be
this,
nice.
yeah. If you can try to do something for 15 minutes a day that's out of your norm, you should.
Yeah, that's my daily push-ups every day.
Yeah. Mine's not as healthy as Ryan's, but you know what? Here we are.
What do you mean? Your painting bowls is not healthy? That's healthy.
It's very healthy for
It's
your
ment
mind.
it's mentally healthy. Yeah.
It's not physically healthy.
I'm sure it's physically
In
healthy.
fact,
It's
it's probably physically
I think
not healthy.
I think mental and physical kind of go together. So you could
That's fair.
probably say that the mental benefit is helping physically as
That's
well.
true. I will say that I do feel a lot better this week overall, just kind of like being in the week. So,
That's great.
but that has a lot to do with visiting people and kind of getting out of the norm anyway. So,
Hmm.
okay, we should get to whatever the fuck we're doing today. All right.
Uh, okay. So the topic is basically I've been struggling very badly with a glaze issue with a couple different glazes. One of them is a tried and true glaze that I've been using for a long time. It's a floating blue glaze. And the other is a rutile white, which is a newer glaze that I've been using for soda firing, but I've been bleeding it over into the oxidation kiln too. So it has been quite the bitch lately.
Okay.
Um, and then I've been, you know, sharing it and then getting some feedback from different people. You get a variety of insights about what it could be or what it couldn't be, or have you tried
Oh,
this? Have you tried that? And
we called you yesterday and spouted all the things we thought about it at you.
yeah, and honestly, I hadn't thought about specific gravity. I mean, I did test the specific gravity of one of them, but I didn't test it the other one, and
Yeah.
um, yeah. So, and I've been with it being such a tried and true glaze, the floating blue. I use that in so many combos, so
Yeah.
it's only really been an issue with one specific combo, which happens to be my most popular combo, the green and blue,
Hmm?
and of course, but it's not something I can't work through. So I've
So
been
let's
kind of
start from the beginning. Why do you think, when did it start getting fucked?
I think I started seeing it about a month and a half or 2 months ago,
Okay.
but it was very not sporadic, but it was only on a couple pieces here and there.
Okay.
But very much an oil bottle specific issue. That was a common denominator for those combos for the most part.
Okay.
Um, a little more info. My assistant Erica does a lot of the glazing. So some of the glazing I do, some of it she does. So we have to kind of like assess, okay, what do you do differently? What do I do differently? How much time are we waiting between glazing and loading a kiln? I think that plays a factor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the last month or so, specifically with that combo with the blue and the green, I hadn't used that rutile glaze in oxidation until probably about the same time, about a month ago or so. Because I had a batch of the glaze for soda, but it was a smaller batch. It wasn't I wasn't doing it in production. I was putting in the soda kiln. I hadn't had any issues in the soda kiln.
Okay.
But once
Which
we
is
got it in the big
surprisingly long firing.
yeah, so very slow. And also there's probably being the atmospheric firing, there's some other layers of soda and interactions going on with those pots that if there are inconsistencies, it's less noticeable.
Right.
So, an electric kiln, if glaze is not sticking to the pot or something's going wrong, you're going to notice because you know what it should look like. And if it doesn't look like that, there's something wrong.
Right.
So, so yeah, there's a number of troubleshooting tasks. Is there anything different with my bisque temperature? Is there anything different with the glaze application? Is there something different with the glaze firing? Is um are we mixing new batches of glazes recently? Did the recipes change recently? Or did the materials in the recipes change? Um have have any of the glaze buckets had their lid off too long or forgot the lid off and some of it evaporated and thickened up? Is it is it applied I already said applied differently, but basically those are all the kind of things that are going through my mind of what I
Very.
need to eliminate little by little.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'll settle on a couple things. And I'm not exactly sure if I could pinpoint that it's specifically like the ingredients or if it's
A few moments later.
Okay.
it started the recording again, which is good. Maybe that means it'll continue recording. I don't know,
Okay.
but
Well,
that's weird.
that was weird. Okay, anyway, you left off at like trying to figure out what's going on, all the different variables, and what
Yeah,
have you
so I think I concluded that my recipe has 26% Gillespie borate that was previously Gersley borate in the recipe. Um, the Rutile white has a similar percentage as well, about 25% or so. And from what Kurt's been sharing specifically, and I think Sarah from Not Work Related had a similar issue. She was facing a similar thing. So I think the Gillespie does some weird stuff at certain temperatures. Around 1700 degrees, it does some off gassing, but it's also like melting a little bit. So it does some weird things. And Kurt was sharing some things from Digital Fire that was talking about it. So uh, if you're not familiar, the Gersley borate material is not really in circulation as much anymore. It's harder to find if you can find it and you need it, like get it. But otherwise, you kind of gotta adjust. And Gillespie borate's generally not a 1-to-1 match. I don't know the chemistry behind it, but it's not an easy 1-to-1 swap. But that's what I'm doing right now. And I hadn't seen these issues until about the last couple of months. Maybe it's other variables that I've kind of lucked out on that have made it work for me. But I think we might have gotten to the point where if I don't change the recipe for the long term, it's going to
Mhm.
continue to be an issue. So, I think I found a short to medium term solution, which is playing with a specific gravity, lowering that so that it's a little less thick and changing the firing schedule so that it's a lot longer. So I'm really taking my time to do a preheat so that the glazes are nice and dry. I'm not always glazing and throwing it right in the kiln and firing it, but because floating blue is in so many of my glaze combos,
Yeah.
I do tend to end my glazing cycle with floating blue. So
Yeah.
it tends to be the one that's got the least amount of time to dry.
Yeah. So I want to interject a little bit with that was mine and Eric's suggestion is to kind of like add a preheat, which we've talked about this before, but I want to say it again. I when I used to glaze dipping glazes, 1 to 3 different glazes, I noticed a huge change in my glazes when I started doing a 2 hour preheat or a 1 hour preheat before my glaze firings. It
When you
was,
say 1 to 3, do you mean sometimes you'd have up to 3 glazes on one pot?
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. It was unbelievable the differences that I saw. It's like getting those glazes dry on the pots before they start firing is so important. So if you are
What were the
having,
differences you were seeing though?
I was having crawling. I was like having a ton of crawling.
Okay. So it
And
wasn't making them more vibrant or
no,
more
it's not
like
anything with the color. It's
thin.
more just the crawling. And like once I started making sure they were dry, 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 dry before I started firing, everything was fine. And
Hmm.
a slower firing schedule is good. Now, what Eric and I think is because they're specifically in your uh in
Oil
your
bottles.
oil bottles, it's because what I think is because the oil bottle has a smaller hole at the top and it's releasing a lot less air, like it's got a lot less air inside
Airflow.
to dry. And I was thinking about it because Heidi was like, I haven't had an issue. You know, she hasn't really had an issue. She just kind of like slowed up her schedule, but everything she has is wide at the top and everything's drying
Yeah.
on the inside. So I really do think that it has something to do a little bit with the fact that those oil bottles are trapping in that moisture so well.
Would that, I would think that would also prevent some of the glaze. There would be less glaze on the outside than
Potentially.
it could be because it's like a sponge. It's already kind of absorbed from the
Yeah.
inside glaze, and it's just not enough time to make sure it's fully dry.
Mhm.
And is that putting, because to my knowledge, there's not crawling issues on the inside.
Right.
I can't guarantee that, but I don't
We don't think.
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
And when I do glaze them, I tend to glaze the insides first. You'll say I have a batch of 10 of this combo. I'll glaze the inside, pour them out, set them on the table, and then I'll go back to the first one and then I'll dip the outsides. So I'm not waiting hours between doing the insides and outsides. I was waiting, maybe 15 minutes or so
Right.
between. So, it is, and there's only so much you can do with waiting. Like, I'm not going to glaze the insides of all my pots, wait 24 hours, glaze the outsides of all my pots, wait 24 hours, load them all in the kiln,
Right.
fire them all, and like put a really, like, that's just not efficient enough for me. I mean, sure, I could do that. Am I being a little bit, you know, iffy about what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do? Sure. But yeah, I need to find a good middle ground that
Hmm.
works. But if I did notice that the firing that I just unloaded, the pots look great. Like the not the one that had the issue still. That was me trying to like meet in the middle between my original firing schedule and Heidi's firing schedule.
Yeah.
Heidi's was like 18 hours in the big kiln is what I did on the one that I just unloaded tonight. The one that I fired is normally 10 hours or 9 hours. So big difference. And then the one that I did yesterday that I unloaded that still had the issue was about 13 hours.
Hmm.
But I didn't have as long of a preheat. I think I had a 1 hour preheat maybe at the beginning, going
Yeah.
up to 180, soaking it for about an hour. But like, I mean, I'm thinking that's got to be enough time, but I don't know how much time it takes for that moisture to get out, but
Right.
I would suspect the lower specific gravity is also gonna make those pots dry quicker too, because there's like less glaze on it maybe.
I'll tell you what, I'm really glad that I started using commercial glazes once all this shit started happening with all the chemicals and shit.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean they still have to change their recipes, so there's no guarantee that you're not gonna have that kind of stuff happen, but
True.
you hope that they test it a little bit.
Well, I don't think there's any Gersley borate in underglazes, so I think I'm good on that.
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't think so either. I don't really know the science of underglazes, but
Well,
um
Gersley borate is glass. So,
is it? Okay.
yeah, Gersley borate, if you just mix Gersley and water and dip things in it, it turns out just clear, 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 shiny clear. You know,
Hmm. Okay.
I used to dip like ornaments in it because they don't need to be used, you know. So it's definitely not
Oh.
the strongest thing you can do, but it is
You
something.
actually made a glaze out of just Gersley and water?
Yeah,
Wow. That sounds like, some of the recommendations have been do something with Fritz, replace the Gersley borate with, or the Gillespie borate with Fritz, like a Frit
hmm
3134, I think, or some other Fritz, because it's like from what we talked about with Josh a long time ago, like Frit is basically like a mixture of different materials put together. So it's basically a glaze by itself. But um yeah, so short term, I think I'm gonna go with the slower firing schedule. The other pro that Heidi mentioned was, you know, the elements are going to last longer by firing it that slow.
for sure.
But I was like, you know, I, 3 or 4 years ago, I was firing fast. I was doing the fast, whatever, hold for a few minutes at the top, and I was going. And then you got me to do like a quote unquote medium schedule. So that's kind of where I was. I mean, I think it was a medium. I mean, the second segment was 450 degrees until it got to like 1900. So I don't know if that's considered medium, but
No,
um, I think that's I think that was maybe the schedule that maybe that was Josh's schedule that he used on a glaze. I can't
probably.
I can't remember. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think that
Walking Ryan down to a slow firing has been
it's
years.
taken like 6 years or 7 years for me.
Years.
Slow. Well, Josh got me to get the slower bisque. He was like, "Here's the bisque schedule. You should do this." So I think the slow bit, I'm like working my way to the glaze firing of, okay, what can I deal with? I mean, going from 9 hours to 18 hours is not a small change. So
No, that's not a small change for sure.
I mean, I'm like, I got patience, but like, I don't know if I got that much patience.
It's interesting because, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I need to plug in the cost part of the Genesis too to see what the differences are because I think Erica asked, she was like, "Does that mean it's costing you more money because you're firing it 6 hours longer?" And I'm like, I don't honestly know. I don't I don't think it means that it's
It's
going
costing more money, but it's like going slower.
how
So it
much
might not
more.
be directly proportionate. Like, it might not be
Mhm.
double, right? But
Yeah, and I'm like, well, the lifespan of the elements is also longer, so how much does that cost and how much time is involved in replacing elements? So,
yeah.
um, that's a factor, but I'm kind of thinking through, okay, it's September. I got to get through the holidays. I can't just in one aspect, I'm going to be, I'm going to be pressed for time on sometimes. So I'm not, maybe that means I avoid that combo in certain glaze firings, or I do that glaze combo, but I dry it out like crazy by sitting it on top of kilns or whatever and waiting a day between firing, or I just put a really long preheat and maybe that'll be enough to do enough for the differences that I'm seeing, but I don't know. And then I think the long-term solution, I'm gonna have to change the recipes a little bit, which from what Kurt
Uh,
was saying, there's a Digital Fire has a Patreon option, and you
oh.
can plug in your recipe
Oh
and say,
yeah.
I want to substitute these materials, and it'll give you a chemical equivalent, and it'll like rebalance your recipe for you. So I'm like, I mean, I'm willing to do that. If they can just tell me what I need to do, I can just get different materials and swap that stuff out. I likely already have the materials. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do the chemistry myself, but um
Digital fire is, oof,
if I
it's a
can do
lifesaver.
that, I'm gonna do that. So
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
I got a couple of glazes. I got those two glazes, but I got some other glazes that I think use some Gersley borate or Gillespie borate. It's really small percentages in the other ones though, so it's not as big of an issue. Plus, some of them have Custer feldspar in them. I don't know how available that is, and I'm gonna have to replace that anyway. So, um, yeah, we're gonna have to go down that. That's probably a winter activity, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
But I actually do still have a 50-pound bag of Gersley borate. So I'm also having Erica mix up a 5-gallon bucket of the original recipe that I have for floating blue. So that's kind of my midterm solution to get me through the end of the year.
Love that.
I'm not just gonna ride out the Gersley borate as much as possible because I know I need to do the glaze changes, but uh I'm gonna try this and get a little more accurate with the specific gravity to hopefully help me out. So we shall see. Did you back when you were making all these glazes and stuff in the studio, were you measuring specific gravity or were you just eyeballing it? How are you judging it?
I'd never even heard of specific gravity until I got to Gravesco. I could not, I was like, oh yeah, you lift the mixer up and if you can see the edges of the blade, it's good. Like,
Mm,
that's my specific gravity.
yeah, it's
Hold on.
just a visual test. It's kind of like there used to be the finger thing where you dip your finger in the glaze and if you can see your wrinkles or something, it's the right thickness or
Yeah, it's like I was taught by such an old school potter that there is no
yeah.
like
Like that in a way specific gravity matters, but they're not measuring it scientific or not scientifically. I mean, it's not that scientific, but um it's not hard to do.
no. Yeah, not
How
hard.
would you explain how to measure it?
Okay. I might explain it incorrectly because I still have to kind of look it up because I've still only done it like twice.
Oh,
But
I just did it yesterday, so
but you get a syringe that has 100 milliliters
Mhm.
in it, like at
You
some
could
point.
you could do a beaker or something too, like a
Yeah,
graduated
or a
cylinder
beaker.
or
I like a syringe. You weigh the syringe first, you tear it out, and then you fill it up with 100 milliliters, and then you put it on the thing, and then
you're gonna do it in grams.
do it in grams, and then you weigh it, and you see how much it weighs.
Yeah, so 100 grams of water is how much 100 milliliters should weigh if it's just water.
Yeah.
So typically you're gonna get a number in grams from, mine I like them about 140 to 145 or 150 maybe. 150 is a little thick, but 140 to 145 is what I like. Some people like 135. It could differ depending on the glaze. Like some glazes, if they're too thin, they're the color is just not what you like it to look like. So you might need a little thicker.
So when you measure it, it's going to come up with like a 135, right?
Yeah, or 145 or whatever.
Yeah. So however much it weighs in grams, that's the specific gravity. You don't have to divide anything. You don't have to do any shit like that.
That's why we're doing 100.
That's why you're doing 100. You just easy peasy, pumpkin squeezy.
Yeah. And some people you'll see it as a decimal. You'll see like 1.45. That's just
Yeah.
because you do the math. You're doing the 145 divided by 100, and that's 1.45. So sometimes you'll see the number like that instead of
Hmm.
like 145. So, but yeah, generally, I would guess in production, I don't. Gravesco did they measure specific gravity every time they were mixing glazes so that they keep a solid number on every glaze?
Literally every time they glazed, every day.
Oh, really? Well,
When
yeah,
you're
I guess
doing
if you're glazing
production,
tons of stuff, you
you
need to,
have to. You have to.
yeah, because
Like
some
that.
of it can change just from evaporation.
Yep.
If there's, something changed if somebody poured a little water in there or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, I don't know that I'm gonna get to the point where I'm writing specific gravity numbers on buckets, but I think each time we mix a new batch of it, just checking it is probably not a bad idea.
Mhm.
And then eyeballing it and verifying. But that is the plan. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I haven't really had this much issues with something like this in quite a long time. I mean, I've had some crawling or some glazes that run a ton or they pinhole. Usually pinholing has been my issue. Like with this glaze combo too, I've had pinholes. So some of it is I've, moved those pots away from the elements, put them in the middle of the shelf instead of against the close to the elements. I've noticed that I don't know if that specifically fixes it, but I've noticed some glazes I move to the middle of the shelf instead of being right against the elements or making sure that it's not getting to a cone 6.5 or cone 7 or whatever. That can also be a little finicky for me with some combos, but
Here's what I'll
um,
say. My mom always said this about children, and she always said that God never gives you something you can't handle. And I feel the same way about pottery. Like, okay, for instance, my mother, when she had my brother was like a really good kid, like a really good baby. He was like solid. That was her first kid. And so she thought it was like cake, right? She didn't think it was cake, but she was like, great, great kid. And
good
then Betsy,
introduction because it's very manageable.
right. And then Betsy came around, and then I don't remember which one of us was like all hell, but I do know that I used to throw tantrums like a lot. She said that she used to lay on the floor between me and the stairs so I wouldn't fall down the stairs. Um,
Would you do it
but
on purpose?
I was like two. I was,
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah. So anyway, what I'm saying is the universe has a really funny way of saying fuck you, right? Like you've had a pretty easy career up until now, with glazes, like everything's kind of fallen in line. It had to happen sometime.
I'm very cautious with things too. Like,
You are.
and sometimes I avoid glaze combos because I know they're finicky. Like, I just avoid it. It's not worth it for me for some things.
Yeah.
I'm just
But
like,
that's fair.
there's enough options out there. Why do I need to stick to this one if it's giving me a hell of a hard time?
No, that's fair, but it's time. It is time for
I did
you.
have that really bad issue with the underglaze mugs with the clear glazes and the like peeling. It was kind of a not a crawling exactly. It kind of seemed like it, but
So I had that happen a few times on some of my earrings, but I found that if you just dry them long enough, they do okay.
I mean, part of that could have been the underglaze formula at the time was kind of crap on some of those underglazes. So
True,
they've
but
reformulated them since then, which I have not seen those issues with the reformulated version. So that
I've had
could
it a few times with the reformulated versions.
mm,
But like I said, they were thick, they were on flat levels, like, and I don't know if I fired them fast. Like, I think that if I would have fired them slower, they would have done a lot better.
hmm
I think that was a me issue more than a they issue. But
yeah.
yeah.
It's hard to narrow down. Like, you see the comments that are, do you wipe your bisqueware off after you bisque? And I'm like, no. I feel
No.
like that's one of those myths out there that it's like, are you sure it's not dust from your bisqueware? It's like, I don't have pots sitting on shelves that long and I don't have dusty bisque. Like, I don't know.
I know it's like, yeah, you're not in a studio that's just you're breathing in silica
Or, or
all
like
the
the
time.
oils on your skin. Are you sure you didn't touch the pot there and the oil was blocking the glaze from adhering in that part of no.
I think that if somebody asked me that, I'd be like, "Are you sure it's not your face?" Like, fuck
Are you
off.
sure your prayer to the kiln gods wasn't long enough? Did you skip your prayer that night?
Did you skip the god on top of your kiln?
I don't have a kiln god.
See that there it is. There's the issue right there. You're
Yep.
just not doing it right, Ryan.
There's no kiln gods in this house. Also, I don't name my kilns. Is that part of it too? Could that be the reason?
That might be it.
Yeah, you have to have a name. You have to give them personality or else they don't feel loved.
Did I ever tell you? Yeah, they have to feel loved. Did I ever tell you my kiln's name?
Mm, no, it's not
The
like
Bluesmobile.
what is it?
The Bluesmobile.
The Bluesmobile.
Yeah, which I think is really good because LNL is mostly blue, like it's blue and yellow, but mostly blue. And the Bluesmobile is from God. Well, here we go again. Could you please watch the Blues Brothers? Like, I am sick of trying to
Oh,
explain these things. Anyway,
uh,
I
I was
think
thinking you were gonna say
you love
Bluey
it.
or something.
No, the Bluesmobile because it's traveling. Oh no, is it raining?
Do you have shit outside?
I don't really know if it's raining yet, but um, yeah, the Bluesmobile because it's going to travel around and we're on a mission from God.
Hmm. Okay. The Bluesmobile. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think I am well equipped to equipped, not equipped. I'm well equipped to figure this shit out. It also helps to have all these people around me that know these things. So like hearing from reputable people that I trust of, hey, I ran into this. This is what I did. Hey, I'm doing this right now. This is what I'm doing. Oh, your tests are coming out. How's it going? Oh, they fucked up. All right, what are you trying next? Like, it's pretty nice being able to bounce those ideas off and not just, go from random comments from random people and be like, you know what, maybe I should try those things. It's like, or, you know, I mean, I don't know how long it would take for somebody that knew their recipe, but they don't know that, like, hey, I might need to change this or change that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary for me to go out and do a full glaze chemistry workshop to figure out what's going on. Like, there's resources out there that can get me to an answer quickly or quicker, and I can test it. And having the test kiln helps because I did run that slow firing with Heidi's schedule with 4 cups. I think the day that the issue was happening very badly, it came out and I was like, fuck. And the next day I glazed 4 cups really quick. I didn't wait. I didn't do the 24 hours or anything like that between glazing and put him in the kiln. I just threw him in the test kiln, put Heidi's schedule on, ran it. I mean, it was 4 cups, 4 tumblers, so it wasn't the exact 1-to-1 test because I wasn't doing oil bottles, but it was pretty solid results. I didn't get any crawling on those, so that gave me a little bit more, hey, maybe this is worth doing in the bigger kiln. And then I tested my limits with going quicker, and it bit me a little bit.
Well, what are you gonna do? Anyway, it just rained abruptly just now.
What
Just
got wet out there? Did you have some of your stuff? Like, did you have pots or something out there, or the kiln out there?
no, I have my battery out there. I think it should be fine. I'm gonna drive back up there tonight, and sleep up there so I can leave my door open. But
It's probably been pretty nice the last week or so, right?
yeah, last night was a little toasty, but I'm
Hmm.
actually kind of glad it rained because it probably cooled down quite a bit.
Cooled down. Wouldn't it be humid though?
I mean, yeah, it's always humid,
Hmm.
but it's only 70 degrees now instead of
Ooh, that's comfortable. That's good weather right there.
pretty comfy, pretty comfy.
I feel like I should. I mentioned this at the workshop. I was like, should I tell people if they want to camp in the backyard, they can camp in the backyard? But we
Where
don't.
are they gonna fucking camp?
And then they
They
were
have to
like,
like camp on it.
you need a flat spot, and I'm like, maybe on the landing where the kiln is, like to the right of the kiln.
Yeah, they'd
It's
have
like,
to like camp on an incline. Like they'd have to like
and then
they'd
the
probably
and then I
slide down the fucking hill.
and then somebody was like, you must not camp a lot because you need a flat surface. I'm like, I don't camp. Like,
Is
they're
that
like, you can
Jessica?
any bit of an incline is not good. Yeah, that was Jessica. I was like,
They
sorry, I
can
don't
camp in your
camp.
front yard. That's it.
They could do it on the gravel of the kiln pad. It's it's like 15 feet from the kiln.
Have you ever camped on gravel, Ren?
No. Oh, well, actually I have, I think.
It's
But
fucking
you, but you
awful.
don't but you don't sleep right on the ground. You sleep they were like, yeah, you'd have like a little air mattress or something. It wouldn't be
I guess, but still, it'd be much better on the grass on this. You could do it in the side yard over,
but they'd be in like the front side yard.
but their cars would be covering them.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it'd be a little weird. I don't think you'd want because people turn around the cul-de-sac. Like you wouldn't want people turning around with you in a camp. I don't know.
Listen, I slept in that spot in your yard with the door open for like 4 nights.
Yeah, but it's a
So,
vehicle. People, I don't know. I try to get Rachel to like if we were to like put the tent or something outside, she was because we have a tent and she was like, I don't like the sound of the like animals and stuff outside. I like that.
it's a
I
bit.
love it with the windows open and hear the nature sounds. I like it.
Oh yeah, my whole life is nature sounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we shall see.
Anyway, um, yeah, cool.
Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know if this was informative to people. I hope it was, but I don't know. Good luck. I had all the tools I had. It also helps if you make a lot of production. If you make a lot of shit that you can fuck up, that helps.
That helps. You know, we can't have A pluses all the time, Ryan.
Yeah. I
These
mean,
get degrees, okay? That's all I'm gonna say.
well, there's a good update. Hopefully people got value out of the update at the beginning. You know,
Yeah,
plan accordingly,
yeah,
make a lot of production, and then you can have gangbuster shows if you're in the right spot, the right audience.
yeah, yep. And be Ryan J. Durbin.
You got it right.
Oh, did. All right. Well, I'm gonna go up and cover up my shit, and because it's gonna
I'm
rain tonight.
I'm gonna finish packing stuff. Oh,
Sweet.
I didn't mention my goal. I was done with my throwing goal now. Did I tell you that? I'm officially done with the 60 pots a week, the 15 4 times a week.
Oh, that was till a certain time?
Well, I mean, that paper that I had, it ended last week. So
Oh,
I basically chose to be like, okay, I'm gonna take a few weeks and figure out what I'm gonna do. So I've been catching up, I've been making stuff. It's been nice.
nice. That's great.
So
I the door is opening on its own. I think we have a ghost. I I got nothing.
were you
Yeah.
gonna say something about your bowl goal, your bowl journal, or your no?
Nope. Nothing.
All right.
Okay, cool. Cool, 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 cool. Well, cool. I will talk to you later.
All
And
right. Hopefully this audio is not fucked up for people.
yeah, that'll be weird. I'll check it. I checked the time and I know about where it was. So
All
anyway,
right. Thanks
everybody,
everybody for listening.
yeah, have a good week
Yeah, we'll
and
catch you next time.
sweet. Bye.
Goodbye. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to another episode of Wheel Talk. This podcast is made possible through the contributions of all of our listeners who always ask us great questions, leave us reviews, and contact with us through social media. Thanks to all the fellow makers as well who take time to be interviewed and share about their lives and businesses.
And thank you to Ashley from Boldover Ceramics and Lindy from Lindy Garner Ceramics for their assistance on the Whale Talk Podcast Instagram. You are invaluable. Thank you to everybody.